What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Kofi Kingston, aka 1/3 of the New Day. You're not gonna say it with me, sir? Yeah, come on, you better participate. Let's try it again. 1/3 of the New Day, and you are watching The Young and the Wrestlers. Ha 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 ha.
Welcome to The Young and the Wrestlers, the Pop Culture's WWE podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Betson, alongside...
Don't be so Robert Rude. I'm Jem.
This is our SmackDown review. No, not even review. I gotta change that, because it's not a review anymore. That's right. We'll get to that in just a moment. This conversation happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. If you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/thepopculturist, Twitter, Discord. Links are in the description below. Twitter handles are under our faces. If you want to join the conversation as it happens, head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist. Support us at any $1 value. Get yourself a nice little sneaky link where you can watch us record this show live. If you want to support us in more once-off fashion, head over to popculture.com/shop where you buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. There are sales pretty much from now until the end of the year, as we said a couple of weeks now, because, you know, Black Friday, the Cyber Mondays, Thursdays, like there's sales for no reason from now until the end of the year, and then the Christmas, and then like Christmas, like there's sales all in. I don't know whether you might not get it in time for
New
Christmas.
sales.
Yeah, pre-New Year's sales, pre-New Year's sales, you know, and then it's like, you know, random 12th of December sales. It's just everywhere. So you can get your merch and stuff over there if you want to support us that way. And we are also on the Twitch at twitch.tv/thepopculturist. But Jem, as we alluded to at the start of the show, we are jiggering things up here a little bit. Couple reasons. Mostly because we had kind of fallen away from our original plans here at The Young and the Wrestlers. Our plans were to stick within the kayfabe, play within those rules, and focus more on the story and the absurdity that is WWE. So for us, it was playing into those stories, considering them real, dissecting the emotions and the decisions behind the characters within those stories, and as I said, we got away from that. We started drifting into standard wrestling podcast territory by reviewing episodes of the show, essentially recapping it beat by beat. Like, I don't know how we fell into that. I think it just kind of happened to be because it seemed like the easy way at the time.
It's the way it is, yeah.
However, so we've changed that. So now, rather than going beat by beat, play by play for the show, we are breaking it down into its storylines and its feuds. So we may not discuss all the matches, we may not discuss all the feuds, because they may not be integral to the overall narrative that SmackDown or Raw is going for right now. So, example, there are some matches that appeared on SmackDown this week that, you know, we may not see going further. So we're not going to, like, we'll touch upon it and we'll discuss whether we see it being a legitimate feud, if the reasons are ground, you know, like, with this something we'll see more of, but likely we'll focus on the big beats and for that. So for you guys at home, presumably that's a smaller show, which is nice. Won't be so long each one. It'll be a tighter show in time. We do have some kinks that we'll probably have to buff out, but it's all that growing pains as we redesign the show again.
Well, look, we're a relatively new show. Like, we've barely been going a year. So it's still something that we are learning ourselves and we're growing with. It's like, you know, it's like you being a father and having a child. You know, that first year is a whole new world to you. It's something you learn and you grow with. And as you go, you adjust yourself to fit. And I guess we're just doing the same thing. It is all growing pains. It is just figuring out where we want to take this and how we want to address it. And, you know, it's super sweet of everybody for bearing with us, and the feedback that we receive from you guys and stuff like that is super helpful as well. But, you know, it's all a case of trial and error until you get it right.
For us, yeah, because it comes down to doing what no one else is doing. And, like, there could be a reason why no one else is doing this, because it's maybe not going to work. But that's fine. We're going to try it, right? Because, like, you can listen to a recap of Raw or SmackDown from anyone. You've watched, presumably you've watched it. Why do you want to hear two random people tell you exactly what happened? You saw it. So we're changing it in that direction. Now, in time, this could possibly mean be reducing it to 1 episode a week rather than 2, because we can do it that way. But if we can do 2 small episodes of like 2 40-minute episodes or something rather than 2 hour 20, you know, like we can come it down, then it actually works out benefit for everybody. But
bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, but that's you know, that's normally makes sense if you don't sit there and baffle on for the start of the show. But anyways, let's take a look at SmackDown this week and what we saw. Now, because of the new change in format, there are some things that happened in the past that we'll have to sort of touch upon here to put everything in context. So, kicking off the show with the current state of the Roman Reigns versus King Corbin feud. Now, this feud is stemmed within the idea that prior to Survivor Series, King Corbin believed that he should in fact be the locker room leader. He should be the team captain coming into Survivor Series, and I'm unsure of like his grounds here. I'm not really feeling.
He decreed it.
So there's no like apart from being the king and decreeing it. There's really no reasons. Like he hasn't earned it per se. It's not like he's had like 16 wins and he's like, well, I should be the face of
He's
SmackDown.
The king, so he's immediately granted that position in his eyes.
So how did you feel about this feud before this episode of SmackDown?
I think it's a grounds for a feud, definitely. Obviously, we've seen from in the past, like King Corbin has gotten ego on himself, like even more so than ever with winning the King of the Ring tournament, being crowned King Corbin. So I definitely think, you know, there's some solidity in that, but he's just taking it too far, because the whole idea of King of the Ring is King of the Ring, not king of the locker room, which he's sort of taking too far. So as we know, like Roman Reigns is a locker room leader. So I definitely think that, you know, Corbin's stepping on toes and Reigns is putting his foot down about it.
Yeah, but like so he does have the backing of the likes of Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. You know, they've discussed about how the change within the locker room, that, you know, they don't feel as supported, or, you know, they don't put their trust in Roman as the leader, and that's fine, because I understand they probably have different motivations within how they, you know, how they run themselves on the show. So it makes sense for them to have different paths. Now, I don't know how the locker room works. Is it a democracy? Is it we vote Roman to be the leader? Is that how it works? Like, is there, you know, because
monthly ballot?
Yeah, that's the thing. And like, is there actual, you know, democratic ranking in terms of, well, he's king now, you know, we're not a monarchy, but we might be, you know. So where does that sit is what I wonder. So with SmackDown today, they added a bit more about post Survivor Series. So Survivor Series, they came second with 2 points compared to NXT's 4 and Raw's 1. With one of the matches they won. So the 2 matches they won were the tag team match in the because Viking Raiders won that one. Where was the other one?
SmackDown won. They won one of the kickoff shows.
They
What was
OC won the Battle Royal.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. OC did not win the Battle Royal. Who won it? Because I know, Viking Raiders won the tag team, the triple threat tag team. Who won the Battle Royal? Either way, like, the only other win came from the men's elimination match, the 5-on-5-on-5. Rude and Ziggler won it for the Battle Royal. There you go. Thank you very much, Killer, in the chat. So there's, you know, once again, there's validity there as well. These guys won it. You know, they have it. They were one of the contributors to Survivor Series. They have a stake. They should have an opinion here.
And not just that, like, Baron Corbin does go, he does also mention I guess he claims that Roman Reigns was a traitor on the team in getting him eliminated by, I believe he copped a Superman punch and a spear.
So spot on. So during the Survivor Series match, Roman Reigns did turn on Corbin. Corbin was also doing dirty tags and getting up in his shit.
Yeah, he'd also Corbin's grounds for that was shitty was because I eliminated 2 people before you eliminated me.
Well, that's true, but once again, Roman Reigns didn't really get a chance here. When we watch the match, you see, and we discussed it last week with Dash. Thank you very much, Dash, for joining us. Where Roman was never given a shot until there was nobody else left. Roman was out every time. Had
to take it.
Yeah, every time he went to stand up, someone's popped him off and he fell off the side of the ring. So he was never given a shot to get into the match. So although Corbin does have grounds to sort of be that person with those 2 eliminations, Roman was still the final one. He got that pin on.
He was last man standing.
Yeah, he was last man standing. He got the pin on Keith Lee, and that's what got them over. That's what got them the point. But
Corbin claims that if he hadn't been double crossed, he would have been the last man standing.
But it's a situation of why does it matter? You still won.
Yeah, exactly it. Why does it matter? Exactly.
Granted, he's in this little bit of a friend, buddy friend circle with Rudolph, but that's their win. That's not his win. So
exactly it.
Really, Corbin is in no position to go here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, and even Reigns says it. He's just dude, Corbin's I wasn't given the chance to, and he's it doesn't matter if you were given the chance to, you didn't do it.
Yeah. Still got eliminated.
Didn't get the job done. Yeah, exactly it. Doesn't matter if I made it happen, you still got eliminated.
Yeah. So there was a match that took place sort of in revolving this little feud that's going on. So Corbin threw Robert Roode at Roman Reigns in an attempt to sort of all right, you fucking take on Roode.
I'm not going to fight you, but I know somebody who is a winner and will.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly what he said. He's he won. He's a winner. He won at Survivor Series.
Yep.
He'll take you on and prove to you that I'm better. Okay.
Yeah, and for that reason, they did deliver a pretty sweet match between the 2 of them. As you said, beautiful. Winner on winner. As expected, Roman Reigns took the win here, just because Roman Reigns is superior. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I do like this though, because I think this is really setting up a solid feud between Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns, and I don't want to see them buzzing on every week. I like that Baron Corbin is, he's taking a back seat from it, and I guess in a sense, I'm just thinking in Baron Corbin's mind at the moment, and he may not be thinking the same thing, but this is what I think he's thinking. It's a case of he's going to keep challenging me, and I'm going to keep throwing people at him, and I'm going to wear him down, so that when it finally comes to it, I can take him out.
As I said, like a true king, he's just he throws his minions at the person that he's, I ain't gonna do it. I'll make my minions do it. Let's see where it goes. Where do you see this going?
Well, obviously, there's no title in this grand scheme of things, so it kind of it makes it a really interesting feud in that, because there's no real end goal other than, I guess, a superiority complex. I definitely think it's ego against ego. I haven't actually thought this far into it.
Well, because by the sounds, but the winner will be the locker room leader. That's pretty much where they're going. Now, if it comes down to sort of manpower, I guess in physical matches, Roman Reigns will probably have the win here. But then, we've seen what happens when Baron Corbin becomes in a leadership role. He was the GM of Raw for the longest time, and that didn't go well. That 100% didn't go well.
Okay, so something happened in this match that begs the question, is Roman Reigns composed enough to keep that role? Because obviously we did see that Robert Roode was given Baron Corbin's scepter, and he did threaten, Roman Reigns was threatened to be taken out in a stretcher, and it looked like he was going to take, Roode had Reigns' head on a chair, and it looked like he was going to take his head off with that scepter. And then Roman flipped, something triggered in him, and he speared Roode through that barricade, and then he literally just picked up the announcement table and threw it on him, and Roode got stretchered out. Can Roman Reigns keep his cool? That this is something that I watched that I was shit, maybe Roman Reigns has a little trigger there that they're going to play to, and it's going to send him off the rails.
It's very possible. I see this, Well, because adding to what Killer's put in the chat here, he mentioned this. This will likely be a match at TLC, which I think is very possible.
Yeah.
What will it be? Will it be a table ladders or chair match? I can't probably see it being a chair match. I feel mostly because we've got a little hint of a chair here on SmackDown. I'm not sure, but I do think it could. Maybe the frustrations will get to a point, and we'll get like maybe not even a no holds bars match, but like maybe a almost like an anything goes within reason. Like it's just this bubble, and then bam, it could go off in one big go. But there are some matches that potential matches for TLC that would swing a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it will come down to who's going to come out locker room leader. How long it will go, I'm not too sure. Depends how many people that Corbin can get on his side and that are willing to then confront Roman.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on how persuasive that man can be.
Another pairing we saw here today, here at SmackDown was Mustafa Ali versus Drew Gulak. Now this feud stemmed from Twitter, Chem?
Yes. Yeah, so the ring announcers did mention during the match that after Survivor Series, Gulak had done one of his amazing little PowerPoint presentations and presented it on Twitter about Mustafa Ali and his lackluster performance at Survivor Series and how Gulak could have done better.
I don't see... This seems like a bit of a one and done. I don't see this going too far, personally.
Mm-hmm. Well, we do... Mustafa Ali and Gulak have a very long history in 205. So it's something that any diehard fans, would already know about and are probably already sick of. So I definitely think it was kind of like a one and done thing.
Yeah, so because where's the what's the long term thing here? Is it just Gulak consistently running down Ali in PowerPoint presentations? Is this a fight about PowerPoint? The grounds here is you've insulted me. I'm just going to sort you out. Now I forgot to write down who won this, but I presume it was Ali.
Ali definitely won it.
Cool. So that kind of puts a full stop on it there. Gulak calls him out. Ali comes in, takes the win. I don't see this going any further. Next up, there's one that's sort of adding on to the Twitter and post not post Fight Series, but kind of, yes. Adding on from Twitter is we have Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, Fire and Desire, once again getting up in the shit of Nikki Cross.
Fire and shots. Yeah, so Mandy tweets out, I've been at the Day Spa all day and I've only just chucked on Survivor Series and oh my god, Nikki Cross, what a piss poor performance. And then Sonya Deville tweeted at her oh my god, I couldn't agree more, babe. Let's not even talk about it. What an embarrassment. And then Nikki Cross just tweeted all these different letters and she was just right, that's it, or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, before the match, I don't know why, but Mandy Rose took it upon herself to say that Nikki Cross... She's like, I'm not one to attack appearances, but Nikki Cross looks like a cold leftover Thanksgiving dinner.
This makes that makes no sense. Mandy... This
has already been done.
Mandy has attacked Nikki's appearance multiple times. This is the third time, potentially, that this has become a point of contention between the two of them here. And this is battle
and she wasn't even fighting Mandy. She was fighting someone else.
Exactly. It's this weird battle where, Nikki Cross has to prove herself just not because of the way she looks.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
I don't know where they're going here. This doesn't, as we've discussed many, many times about this storyline, it doesn't feel like where women should be at now. If you look at the idea of Becky and Shayna and all these different feuds that are going on here everywhere around, none of them are based on ooh, I'm prettier than you. Exactly. It doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's old school petty. That's WWE before they became
that's high school shit.
Happen. Exactly. That's well beyond where we're at today.
Exactly. And understandably, Nikki gets the win here.
Yeah, of course she does, which obviously Sonya and Mandy get shitty about and they attack her. But in an amazing turn of events, this does bring us back into the return of the lovely Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
Super excited. So yeah, Nikki's getting the shit beat out of her, out of nowhere. Bliss's music hits. She comes storming down, beats the shit out of Sonya and Mandy. She goes to do something to Mandy while Nikki's holding her legs, and then she just stops and she goes like this. And Mandy's like, don't touch my face! And she just slaps her in the face. It was perfect. But no, I was super excited. That was definitely huge. I think it doesn't feel like such a just thrown in there match with Alexa coming back. It definitely it was a great segue into that return of Alexa Bliss, which is super exciting, and I'm really excited to see more of Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, Alexa has been off injured for a little while. It's common knowledge of her previous concussion concerns. So it's good to see her back here. It's good to see her in action, continuing to pair up with Nikki. Now, whether this is
something that we thought was going to be short term has been such a long term friendship, and it's super cool.
It's very cool to sort of have them pair up, and it's this interesting ground because Mandy doesn't have that ammo on Alexa because Alexa's fucking way hotter than Mandy. You know what I mean? So what Mandy's argument there is instantly void. Now, but you'd presume by Nikki getting the one and done here that this should be the end of this again. However, by the involvement of Alexa and the post-match beatdown, I presume this will probably go for a little bit longer. Will we enjoy it? Probably not.
I think it'll lead into like a number one contendership for a title.
Well, that kind of makes sense because with the Kabuki Warriors, they are on Raw currently, and they're in. So Asuka seems to be in this almost one-on-one beef with Charlotte. So whether that has her come over here to do some tag team stuff on SmackDown while focusing primarily on Charlotte over on Raw, it could be a couple of different ways here. But it's a situation that Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross have been tag team champions. And the Fire and Desire have had many, many shots at those titles. But where does this beef go if it doesn't end in a title match?
Exactly it. It's just, filler.
That's right. Speaking of women that have also been within the tag team title picture, it's Sasha and Bayley. So once again, following up to Survivor Series with both of them losing their matches, they've come out into the ring similar to Seth Rollins over on Raw and discussing
everybody about them except themselves.
So I will just quickly add one thing into the Mandy and Alexa and whatever. Killer suggests that Bliss and Cross may win the titles back with interference and assistance from Charlotte.
That would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool. I do like that. And then that also can help fuel Charlotte versus Asuka, which would be rad.
Yeah.
I don't know what Kairi's going to do. That's a bummer. But, yeah, okay. Very cool. So with Sasha and Bayley, they sort of come out to the ring and they because Bayley up until this point, her priority had been Shayna and Becky heading into this triple threat match that she needs to, prove her worth, prove her spot in that match. She may be SmackDown champion, women's champion, but within that match, it was very much Shayna versus Becky was the main draw here. So she's come out, understandably the crowd's yelling at her because she tapped out. Sasha herself also eliminated. I think she did make it to the end. She did.
Sasha was last woman standing for SmackDown. It was her and Rhea Ripley. Candice LeRae and Io Shirai pulled a Swiftie and they got carted out, so they weren't technically eliminated. So they came back and got Rhea the win.
Yeah, so understandably, Sasha could be a little bit pissed.
But the thing is, she's not pissed because of the actions of NXT. She's pissed because she claims her team let her down. She didn't even want that team, and if she did pick her own team, she would have won with her eyes closed. So she's blaming everybody else but herself. And not even the right people. She's blaming the SmackDown team, not NXT pulling a shifty.
Yeah, this is just repeat behavior from these two. That's what it comes down to. It's it's not me, it's somebody else. Meow, meow, meow.
They can't accept responsibility.
It's them having that post-WrestleMania tantrum again, but, in the ring this time.
But staying around, yeah.
Yeah. So, but the difficulty here is, yes, Sasha Banks obviously can't take her frustration to NXT or out on NXT. It's just not possible in their current situation. So, is the next best thing to attack those? Because obviously, as you said, she's not going to take it on herself. What else can we do?
Yeah, exactly it.
Then we have Lacey Evans come in and get involved and get up in their shit.
Yeah, so they go on to name and shame everybody that was in the SmackDown teams. And then they come to Lacey Evans' name, and then Bayley's like, don't even get me started on Lacey Evans. And she comes storming down, and she's like, I've just had to organize Thanksgiving dinner for 36 people. I don't have enough patience to take lip from you two losers. Which is beautiful. Look, this I love, because what we saw from Lacey Evans during this is what I've wanted to see from Lacey Evans since she debuted in SmackDown. Or Raw, wherever she started. Raw. I don't care. Since she debuted on the main roster before everything was the main roster. So when Lacey was brought to Raw, a lot was expected of her because she was thrown straight into that title picture. And big pressure, obviously, she didn't manage it well. I think now she's being thrust into that limelight again with Bayley.
This is the back end of an awesome little beef with Natalya.
Yes. Yeah, and that beautiful match in Saudi Arabia. That was a huge moment. But yeah, I don't know whether it's going to be Lacey go through Sasha to get to Bayley or what, but I definitely think this is putting Lacey back in that title picture. And much to my shock, the crowd was chanting for Lacey Evans. They wanted her. They loved her. They were soaking her up like she soaks up her sweat on that little towel. Well,
it's just the fact that she's getting up in the business here of Sasha and Bayley. But yeah, exactly, putting them in their place.
100%, because she straight up says, stop blaming everyone else for your shortcomings and stop hiding behind your excuses. You're clearly not good enough leaders because you both lost. And beautiful. That was just absolutely great.
And I did believe this ended in a punch, a big old woman's right.
Oh, yeah. So this was interesting because Lacey's socks. So, Lacey's tapping on the belt, and then Sasha grabs her hand and yells at her don't touch her, and she just women's rights, socks Sasha straight in the face, and Bayley does nothing, doesn't even react. It took her a couple of minutes to get down and check on Sasha, and that was so
yes,
I was interested in that because that first instilled in me that this is going to be a case of Lacey's going to go through Sasha to get to Bayley. So this makes it's going to come full circle. It's going to be long term.
Yeah, there could be some there is some intellectualness, some smarts coming from Lacey here. If you can break this pair, then you are going to help break the morale of both of them. So if she can get through Sasha, she's going to shake Bayley, because as we know, Sasha has always been the more dominant of the pair, whether that be the mouthpiece, the leader. That's where it sits. Now Bayley can of course deliver in the ring, so it's not a concern that she's not going to be the muscle here. But if we look at everything that has happened, it is mostly Bayley following Sasha. So with Sasha getting taken out of the picture, or at least brought down a couple pegs, that is going to rattle Bayley, and I think that will leave an opening for Lacey to come in and take that belt.
100%.
And that's something that I'm oddly interested in seeing. I want to know where this goes, and it would be cool to have Lacey sort of meticulously bring it down. Now, it's
going to be interesting to see her turn from what we originally see as the bad guy, the heel, to this face, this she's completely changing this persona. And I honestly think Saudi Arabia for Lacey was that turning point for her, because we saw a different side of her there.
Maybe seeing the change and the good change that being a female wrestler in the WWE can do. Maybe that has helped sort of make her not see the error of her ways and look at it coming at this from a different angle, approaching it differently. And presumably there would be some sort of hang on 1 second, we've just come to our attention that the Twitter handle under you was Dash. It is now changed back to you on the video. My apologies. Thank you, Killer.
Hi, I'm Dash Gamer.
Thank you, Killer, for the notice there. So
Dash never looks so good.
So this could potentially... That's true. That is the best Dash has ever looked. I'm just saying. Putting it out there. So presumably this may have a tag team match in it somewhere. Who do you think Natalya... sorry, I kind of hinted my decision there. Who do you think Lacey will bring in for this match with the pair? I think Natalya. I think there may be that bond, that connection there from having that shared experience at Saudi. Maybe this is where that could go.
Definitely. Possibly, or even like, Lacey's obviously a strong, bold type. I could see her picking Dana Brooke to help out too. Dana Brooke's same sort of physique as Natalya, quite broad, quite strong. I could see something like that coming in too.
And like Natalya, like with Lacey being a lot greener, well, I guess not so much now, but certainly compared to the likes of Sasha and Bayley, having Natalya on that team will give them that upper hand. Natalya has faced both these women many, many times, so it'd be advantageous for her to have that discussion. Be like, look, you've taken these women on in the past. What do I need to keep out for? What do I got to look? How can we better this as a team? That's where I'd like to see happen there. Some interesting stuff could happen. Next up, we get the New Day. They had a bit of a beef with Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, and Sami Zayn.
Yeah, so the New Day issued a Thanksgiving Open challenge because they're feeling thankful and they're feeling giving.
Sorry, clarification. Killer said Natalya is on Raw, though. That she is. So I don't know what that kind of does put a complete spanner in my thoughts.
There you go. So I open challenge for Thanksgiving, basically saying we're feeling like giving. It's they made a segue from Black Friday sales to being open for business. It was really funny. They opened an issue challenge to which Sami Zayn came out and accepted on behalf of Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura.
So look, whether they're grounds for a continuing shot at the tag team titles here, I'm not sure where they stand now. As a stable, they are consistently losing. They have not had a lot of wins under their belt, and this would certainly add some validity to Sami Zayn pushing this narrative that these guys are the future, I guess.
One thing I have noticed, which does present itself again in during the match, is Sami Zayn is more and more often getting himself caught. So he was quite sneaky when Cesaro was on his own, when Shinsuke was on his own. And now that Cesaro's joined the team, like Sami Zayn's more often than not getting caught by the referee and getting kicked out.
Do you think there's an additional pressure here from having the likes of Cesaro, or as we saw previously, trying to enlist other superstars like Daniel Bryan? Do you is this this pressure coming on Sami?
Possibly. I think it's more so Sami's just dropping the ball, and he's not actually the leader he talks himself up to be. I think Sami Zayn is quite self-sabotaging in that respect, and it's starting to show. Yeah. So I don't see this little artists faction, I guess you'd call it, that they've put together. I don't see this lasting long.
No, I certainly don't see.
It's lasted longer than I anticipated, but I don't see
the pairing.
I don't see it. I don't see it coming into the new year.
Well, especially when we have a look at someone that we did see is coming back with Sheamus. So Sheamus is returning. We find out in this episode of SmackDown that he's making his way back. What does that mean? Does that mean the bar is coming back? We don't know.
Please. Before Sheamus left, I hated the bar and I couldn't wait for them to leave, and now all I want is the bar back. Yeah.
So I think, if anything, this could be Cesaro getting back in that tag team picture again. It's been a while since he has, because, for the longest time, he was also a tag team champ. I think the bar had it for a very long time.
Yeah. But in the same respect, I like Cesaro as a singles competitor. I like Sheamus as a singles competitor. So I'm really, really torn.
But as we're seeing, it is certainly possible to be in a tag team and be a singles competitor. We had Kofi, that's certain. We're having Kofi from the New Day. We can see that the team can hold a championship as well as a tag title. It's certainly possible here. Will Sheamus then join this little trio, I guess?
There's definite possibility there. The New Day are 3 superstars, and it seems to be that, the OC as well coming in. It seems to be that, factions, groups, whatever you want to call them, clubs, they seem to be becoming more and more prevalent, which to me says that it's a definite possibility. And it'd be really cool to see.
But would it be within Sheamus's best interest right? To like, 'cause he may have.
I don't think it'd be within his best interest.
Yeah.
I think as a singles competitor, he is very, very strong, and I'd prefer to see him back in singles competition. But you never know how it's going to go.
Yeah, because like that's the thing, like, because even then Cesaro doesn't really need this team. So like, point in fact, I don't see this going very far. We may not even see this again. So one thing we haven't discussed with you, Jem, because you haven't been on the show, the Intercontinental Championship. What's your thoughts on the redesign?
I haven't redesigned.
Yeah, they completely redesigned the Intercontinental Championship. It went from the original white belt design to a black strap with a more circular. It's a bit more older style. I personally prefer the older one. I think the IC was the one that needed the least change.
Okay, yep, I'm looking at it now.
If anything, it was the United States Championship that might have needed the change. They have used the same font that we saw on the 24/7 Championship, so I guess WWE paid for that font package on defont.com, and they want to make sure they get as much dollar value from that as they can.
Look, I get it, because Shinsuke... It obviously suits Shinsuke's aesthetic.
Yeah. And apparently it does mirror some old New Japan belts, so...
Look, it's not horrible, but I don't know what this obsession is with, like, really, like, oval-shaped centered centerpieces. Like, I feel like round centerpieces really shapes it really nicely. It gives it a nice full body. This really narrows it down and just makes it look like, or the square ones, even the rectangular ones. This just makes it look like real narrow and real, like, I don't know. The side accents are nice and stuff like that, but I don't know. It just feels like, it feels small to me. I'm not a fan of this.
Yeah, no, it may come on over time, but I don't think that will be the case.
In my opinion, though, it is better than a belt that we will talk about later.
That was going to be my transition here. Speaking of new belts,
Segue.
We are chatting about Daniel Bryan and The Fiend here.
Woo!
So we did have the match at Survivor Series, Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend. It looks as if this is still going. Now, this is fantastic because one of the things we touched upon previously is there is such a built-in history here between the pair, with Daniel Bryan being an infiltrator within the Wyatt family and having some big moments and some big effects in bringing that family down back in the day. And as the Fiend never forgets.
Before we do get into this, I do want to mention, because I feel like this is going to be like the climax. I do want to mention that we did get a sneak peek. Elias has returned.
That's right, after a broken ankle, I think.
Yeah, so Elias comes in, sings a little song, makes some fun of Drake Maverick, who was hanging out with Dana Brooke trying to kiss her. No big deal. Anyway,
and the Big Dave might get involved, you know?
Yeah. I thought Maverick was married. Anyway, so super exciting on the back of, comebacks and Sheamus and stuff like that. Elias and Alexa Bliss. We also got told that Elias is back.
Yeah, so three returns in the 1 week is pretty rad.
That's huge.
And it's awesome because, look, as we head into the back end of the year, like, this is where it gets quiet. Like, between TLC and, I guess, what's in January? Is it Rumble? Rumble's in January. Between, it's pretty quiet, but, there's the last couple of weeks in December. So bring these people back now while people are watching. Quiet over Christmas. Quiet over Christmas. New Year kicks in. Let's get ready to Rumble. And, it's where that's all going to come in there.
Yep, I don't think we'll see much of Bliss, Sheamus, or Elias until the new year. But it's exciting to know that they are back and they will be competing sometime soon.
But yeah, so back to Daniel Bryan and The Fiend. As we mentioned, the long history there, and The Fiend not forgetting. So I'm very happy to know that this is still going. I did think that Daniel Bryan may have had the one shot, got crumbled, and then that's kind of where it would be done and dusted. That is a concern. But seeing here that his motivations to keep this going with the return of the Yes movement, at least in a minor capacity. Now, we did see it at the Melbourne show.
And he did bring it in at Survivor Series as well. The Yes movement was very prominent in that match.
So it's good to see that back, which I'm enjoying.
One thing I did notice, which if you don't already join our Discord server, because we do talk about these things before the shows as well. One thing I did notice, because obviously we did see the Firefly Funhouse throughout the show, was that Daniel Bryan's picture was not on the Funhouse wall.
Yeah, so for those that may not know, on the wall of the Firefly Funhouse, they have framed photos of everyone that the Fiend has taken down. There is Jerry the Fuckface Lawler. There is Seth Rollins. There's Finn Balor. There is Kane.
Kurt Angle. No, Kurt Angle?
Yeah, Kurt's on there.
Yeah, Kurt Angle.
So one thing that was discussed here, speaking of people that the Fiend has taken down, there was a discussion here about change and how the Fiend has changed those that he's taken involved. Now, Lawler, still a moron. I wish he changed. But
right.
Seth Rollins has changed, as we saw this week. It looks he has turned.
Finn
Balor has turned as well. He is now, returning to his original roots as Prince Devitt down at NXT. So these two very big, happy, smiley faces of the company have almost been corrupted by the Fiend.
Mm-hmm. The interesting thing about this, though, is it seems like Daniel Bryan is embracing that change. And this is what's interesting to me. It sounds like we've seen in the last couple of weeks, he's been very conflicted. It seems like he's at a crossroad. And it's really interesting to see, even though he is embracing the yes movement, he's also embracing this. He's basically chasing the Fiend to change him.
But what's also fascinating as well, because it's something that happened with Finn and NXT. He talked about, when you need to find where you are, you might need to go down that retrace that steps. You look at Seth Rollins. He's retracing his steps here right now. He's returning to some old Shield Day stuff. Finn returned to old stuff from New Japan. Daniel Bryan returning to the yes movement.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredibly important, especially here with the Fiend, because the Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, it is all about never forgetting. It's Bray Wyatt, having the Fiend be the message of the past, I guess. It's righting those wrongs from back in the day, and that's what we're seeing here. So maybe that's some bigger stuff here. This Fiend has this ripple effect around those around him, and it's all about taking your past and changing it, because that's what Bray Wyatt did. Where he is now, and with the likes of Mercy the Buzzard, Sister Abby the Witch, Huskus the Pig Boy, Rambling Rabbit. These are all manifestations of Bray Wyatt's past. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's where they're going here. Maybe it's this idea of being forced to relive your past and acknowledge, because that's the one thing, is we as people, we are the sum of our past. We are the sum of our experiences. And, for a lot of time, people forget about those things that have helped shape them to who they are now. So maybe it's important for the Fiend to come in and disrupt what is the current norm and have some reflection. Yeah.
But this does lead into the Fiend talking about Bray Wyatt. I apologize. Bray Wyatt talking about his favourite toy, which is his Universal title, the beautiful blue.
Which, speaking of change, he's recently changed to blue.
Yes. And he's like, if I get one of these, I think it's only fair that he gets one as well. And we see a snippet of the Fiend standing there with a black mask with his mask on it. Belt with his mask on it.
Yeah, so it's essentially it's a black leather strap with his Fiend's face right dead center, with two additional leather straps. No side plates, no metal in the traditional sense of a belt. It does have little straps that say hurt and heal. I'm personally not a fan.
I explained this again in the Discord. Join us. I mentioned that I understand it. I do understand where it's coming from. I understand, because the whole idea is when the Fiend walks out to the ring during his entrances, the belt, as we've seen, does cover his face. So he
wears it around his neck, yeah.
Yeah. So I get that it's still his mask is still there and it's not taking away anything from the fear that he instills with his face. So I get it. Doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah, so the one thing I liked about by having him just use the standard Universal Championship around his neck, it obscures his face. It's actually more menacing because you're only seeing the eyes. And like,
I agree with that.
It's like lurking in the shadow. And on top of that, it's this imagery of what, the symbol of the belt is. That's a WWE logo. It's the face of this company. It is the logo that represents this company, and there is something lurking behind that has ulterior motives, that is quote unquote evil. You know what I mean? It's like, so that kind of adds a different symbology there again. It's like what the face, the front that you see here isn't what it seems, and that's exactly what the Fiend is doing here with Daniel Bryan and Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. And this is just a further imagery, a further representation of that subtext, the imagery there, right? So by having his face hiding behind his face, completely bums that out.
That's very true.
Just saying.
That's very, very true. Couldn't agree more.
Speaking of change, though, in the face, so adding more change, because the Fiend is all about change. As Daniel Bryan is standing here in the ring, Fiend pops up out of the thing, drags him down under.
And it looks like he was pulling his hair out and just dropping it on the ringside. Like he was yelling, and then it looks like there was pulling. And I hope to freaking gosh that we see Daniel Bryan with no hair next year.
Yeah. Because
he grew his hair out. He was very environmental and all that sort of stuff. And I don't doubt that he still is. I think it's just a case of like with this is also that change in transitioning back to the Yes movement. Because back then, Daniel Bryan primarily had short hair and stuff like that. So it's very... I'm excited for this. This is a feud that I'm excited for. This is a feud that I want to go on for a while. Because we know that the Fiend doesn't wrestle outside of his main events. Like, this is just his MO. Which is like, it's cool to see him make appearances like he's making without actually wrestling. And I'm really, really excited to see how far they can take this. And like I said, this is one of those feuds that I want to be long-winded ones.
Yeah, and it does line up with some stuff we discussed in the past around the idea of Daniel Bryan probably getting that haircut, getting that cleaner look when he does return to, a more face role. So, that lines up with what we were thinking. So, yeah, go us. But,
I'm excited.
But... yeah, no, I think you're spot on here. I think there's a lot that there's a lot that can be done here, and there is such a history here that Daniel Bryan can channel, that the Fiend can channel. There's a lot here that they can work upon. Now, will we see a repeat of maybe Daniel Bryan infiltrating the Firefly Funhouse? That would be cool, but how he does that, we don't know.
That would be really interesting, actually. I don't think he'd do it maliciously, though. I think, obviously Seth Rollins tried to burn it down. I don't think he's going to do that. I think it's going to be, I don't know.
It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, this could go anywhere, and I'm actually fully excited about it.
Big time. So that does bring us to the final. That is all of the feuds, the storylines that are currently living within WWE SmackDown. Let us know what you thought in those comments below. The Twitter, the Discords, the Facebook group. Come chat to us about where you think these where these feuds are going to go.
Predictions, thoughts.
Yeah, because one of the
we discuss in the Discord. Come join.
Yeah, one of the funnest things about wrestling is predicting and speculating where it's going to go. Fantasy booking, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, we all have different thoughts and different things where it can go, and we'd love to continue that conversation outside of this show. So, this is our SmackDown analysis. This happens every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. on your podcast services, 9 a.m. on those YouTubes. As we said, if you want to join that wrestling conversation, head over to facebook.com/group/popculturist, Twitter, Discord, links in the description below. The correct Twitter handles are under our faces.
Hi, I'm Dash Gamer.
But if you want to join the conversation as it happens, which is also a lot of fun, head over to patreon.com/thepopculturist. Support us at any dollar value. Get yourself a nice little sneaky link where you can watch us record this show, as well as a PlayStation show for the players. It's a good little thing. We don't offer a lot for our Patreon, but that is one thing we can do, is we allow you to be directly involved with the content and how we make it. And it's cool to have you guys involved. If you want to support us in a more one-stop fashion, head over to popcultures.com/shopping, buy shirts and other assorted shit with our logos on it. And we are on Twitch at twitch.tv/thepopculturist. We will be back on Thursday with our Raw analysis. Hope to see you then. I'm Ryan Betson.
I'm Jam.
We'll see you on Thursday.
Bye.
The Young and the Restless, the Pop Culturist WWE podcast, is fan support over at Patreon at patreon.com/thepopculturist. And we'd like to thank our Patreon producers and our Patreon founders for their kindness, their support, and their generosity. Our Patreon founders: Alpha Ferret, Craig O'Flaherty, David Chataway, Jesse Stevenson, and Jacob Garner. And our Patreon producers: AJ Abatomi, Damian Holdies, Kyle Dunn, Lee Wintershoven, Nathan Massetti, Paul James, Pure Mongrel, and Sean Levitt.